Welcome to our today's human anatomy class. In our today's class, we'll be looking at the overview of the digestive system. Now, the digestive system is made up of two sets of organs. We have the primary digestive organs and the accessory digestive organs. The primary digestive organs are made up of the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, and the large intestine. While the accessory digestive organ is made up of the teeth, the tongue, the salivary gland, the liver, the exocrine pancreas, and the gallbladder. Now, I want you to know that the digestion itself takes place within this primary digestive organ. While this accessory digestive organ only assist in digestion, they assist the primary digestive organ to achieve their aim of digestion. So that's why we call them accessory digestive organ. This primary digestive organ forms a tube called the gastrointestinal tract. They form a tube called gastrointestinal tract. So the tube, the gastrointestinal tract, or what we call the alimentary canal, or what we call the alimentary canal, begins from the mouth right here and it ends at the anus. So in this place, what we have right here is the pharynx. From the mouth, the tube continues as the pharynx continues as the esophagus. The esophagus continues downward as the stomach, the abdominal cavity. The stomach further continues downward as the small intestine, and the small intestine continues downward as the large intestine. So the anus is part of the large intestine. So when you take in food and you put food in your mouth, the accessory digestive organ called the teeth helps in grinding the food. It helps in breaking down the food. While the salivary gland produces saliva, which helps in moisten or soften the food that has been ingested into the mouth. While the tongue helps to roll the food and push the food downward into the pharynx. Now, when the food gets into the pharynx, the food moves by peristaltic movement into the esophagus. The muscles of the esophagus will contract and the food will be pushed into the stomach. When the food gets into the stomach, the cells of the stomach produce a substance called gastric juice. And the gastric juice further helps to break down the food. The food from the stomach moves into the small intestine. In the small intestine, the exocrine pancreas produces the pancreatic juice, which is released into the small intestine. The pancreatic juice further breaks down the food in the small intestine. It's not just the pancreatic juice that breaks down food molecules in the small intestine, but the liver also produces bile, and this bile is stored in this organ called the gallbladder. So when food enters the small intestine, as pancreas releases pancreatic juice into the small intestine, the gallbladder, which is storing the bile from the liver, will also release the bile through the common bile duct into the small intestine so that digestion can take place. It is important to know that digestion ends at the small intestine. The digestion of carbohydrate, for instance, begins from the mouth. The digestion of protein begins from the stomach, but the digestion of fat begins and ends in the small intestine. So all digestion of food molecules are completed in the small intestine. So carbohydrate usually is broken down to glucose, and the glucose is absorbed from the small intestine into the bloodstream. Protein is broken down into amino acid in the small intestine, and it is absorbed into the bloodstream, while fat is broken down into fatty acid and it is absorbed into the bloodstream as well. The waste product from this food molecule in the small intestine passes through the ileocecal valve and enters into the large intestine. So in the large intestine, there is further absorption of essential material like water and some minerals and even vitamins. So after absorption has taken place in the large intestine, the residue is passed out as feces through the what? Through the anal canal. So this is the relationship between the primary digestive organ and the accessory digestive organ. It is also very important for us to know that the primary digestive organ has 4 layers. They have what? 4 layers. This structure called the gastrointestinal tract, the alimentary tract, each of them have what? 4 layers of tissues that we want us to know. So what are the layers of the gastrointestinal tract? The GIT. The gastrointestinal tract stands for what? GIT. So what are the layers? The layers of the gastrointestinal tract, the GIT. These layers are: 1, we have the adventitia, or what we call the serosa. We have the muscularis. We have the muscularis. We have the submucosa. Then we now have what we call the mucosa. We have the mucosa. So these are the 4 layers of the gastrointestinal tract. So the pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, even the mouth has they all have these 4 layers of tissue. So this is a transverse section of the gastrointestinal tract layer. So this outer layer is either called adventitia, or what we call serosa, depending on the structure that we are talking about. Below the adventitia, we have what we call muscularis. We have the muscularis. We have the muscularis. We have the muscularis. The muscularis. Below the muscularis, we now have what we call the submucosa. We have the submucosa. And below the submucosa, we have the inner layer called the what? Mucosa. The mucosa surrounds a space known as lumen. Lumen is a space inside the digestive tract. So this space right here, is known as the what? The lumen. So this is a transverse section or a cross section of the digestive tract. The adventitia or the serosa is the outer layer of the gastrointestinal tract. Below the adventitia, we have what? We have the muscularis. Below the muscularis, you have the submucosa. While the inner layer of the gastrointestinal tract is called the what? Is called the mucosa. Now, I want you to know that the adventitia is a layer of serous membrane known as peritoneum. So the adventitia that surrounds the adventitia of the serosa that form the outer layer of the gastrointestinal tract is called the what? Is called the peritoneum. While the muscularis contain what? Smooth muscle fibers. So the muscularis of the gastrointestinal tract contain what? Smooth muscle fibers. These smooth muscle fibers are usually in 2 layers. We have the outer longitudinal layer. We have the outer longitudinal layer, and we now have the what? The inner circular. We have the inner circular layer. So the smooth muscles that we have in the muscularis of the gastrointestinal tract is of 2 layers. That means in the pharynx, in the esophagus, in the small intestine, the large intestine, the muscularis have 2 layers of muscle fibers. But it is important to know that the muscularis of the stomach has 3 layers. We have the inner oblique layer, we have the middle circular layer, and we now have the outer longitudinal fiber. So it is only the stomach, it is only the mucosa, it is only the muscularis of the stomach that has 3 layers. Now, it is important to also note that in between the outer longitudinal layer and inner circular layer of muscularis of the gastrointestinal tract, there is a network of nerves known as the myenteric plexus. The myenteric plexus is a network of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves that lie between the muscle fibers of the muscularis. So in between the muscle fibers and the muscularis, you have this plexus, this network of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve known as the myenteric plexus. While the submucosa contain blood vessels, lymph vessels, and even what we call mesna plexus. So in the submucosa, we have blood vessels, we have some lymph vessels, and we also have a network of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve known as the mesna plexus. Then finally, the mucosa, which is the inner layer of the gastrointestinal tract, also is divided. It has 3 layers of tissues. One of these layers is called the epithelial. It's called the epithelial layer. It has what we call the epithelial. It has the epithelial layer, then the epithelial lining. It has what we call the lamina propria. Then finally, it has what we call the muscularis mucosa. So these are the 3 layers of the mucosa. The epithelial layer contains the epithelium. So the mucosa of the mouth, of the pharynx and the esophagus has an epithelium known as stratified squamous epithelium. But the mucosa of the stomach, large intestine, and the small intestine has an epithelium known as the simple columnar epithelium. The lamina propria of the mucosa contain blood vessels, nerves, lymph vessels, and even areolar connective tissues. While the muscularis mucosa is just a thin layer of smooth muscle in the mucosa. So the mucosa also has a thin layer of smooth muscle. That's what we call the muscularis mucosa. It is important to know that the mouth and the pharynx does not have, the mucosa of the mouth and the pharynx does not have muscularis mucosa. But the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, and the large intestine, their mucosa has what we call the muscularis mucosa. So in this class, I have succeeded to introduce you to the digestive system. As we move forward, we are going to be looking at each of the organs that we have in the digestive system, from the mouth down to the large intestine, all through to the accessory organ. My name is Simon. I am an anatomy educator. I look forward to seeing you in my next class.